So for those of you who are not familiar with mail merge is basically just that, merging information that you have for various different individuals or various different locations, whatever's on your database, various different items, and bringing it together all to fit one particular letter or template or passes or anything like that, without having to individually type the information for every single student or every single individual on each of those letters. So mail merge is actually a really great tool. It is a huge time saver whenever you have to put all that information together. And once you learn it, I mean, you become such an advocate for mail merge. You're like, I'll just mail merge it, and it works out so well in your benefit. So we're going to go ahead and get started, and I have two different documents that I'm going to show you how to use with mail merge. The first one is going to be a testing letter that would be handed out to students, letting them know about an upcoming test and where they're going to be testing and who they're going to be testing with, as well as some reminders when it comes to testing. And I'll go over that letter a little bit more in detail when we get to it. The second thing I'm going to show you is, let's say you don't want to do letters, you just want to print out passes for all of the students, and it's just like that, like a hall pass, telling them where they're going to go. I'm going to show you how to do that one as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with that. If you have any question in the middle of me talking and in the middle of me showing you, please do not hesitate. If you're muted, unmute yourself and ask me. You know, just tell me I have a question and I'll stop and I'll help you out. Okay, and then I'll definitely check with you all at the end if you have any questions or concerns.
Excuse me, Jennifer?
Yes.
Is it recording? Will we be able to go back and visit this recording to help guide us?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
so
great.
This training is being recorded, as well as all the other trainings. So if you were, for example, if you had wanted to attend the training yesterday and you weren't able to, that training, those trainings were recorded. That was for filter, copy, paste, sort. Those were recorded, and I'm not sure yet if we're going to be posting them on the school assessment site, or if we're going to be sending it out to all participants, or sending links out to all testers. I'm not sure yet, but they are being recorded, so you can always refer back to it. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So we're going to go ahead and get started with this. Now, in mail merge, it's always very important to keep in mind that the first document you are going to start with is going to be your Excel spreadsheet, where you have compiled all the information maybe that you've pulled off a file download manager for testing purposes. We'll go ahead and stick to testing purposes. I know that that's a little bit easier to talk about now with all school assessment coordinators here. So right now, this is information that I pulled off a file download manager for my students, and I'm a high school assessment coordinator, so I'm just going to focus today on doing the PSAT, preparing for the PSAT training. I want to let all my 10th graders know who they're going to be testing with, where they're going to go, and remind them about things that they cannot do before, during, and after testing. So this is the Excel spreadsheet I am using. Hopefully all of you are familiar with File Download Manager, but you know when you put the information that you want to get for each of the students or whatever it is that you're pulling off a File Download Manager, it comes out into a very big Excel spreadsheet, and then from there you can go fixing it depending on the information that you pulled out. So the information that I got from File Download was the grade level, last name, first name, middle initial, student ID, FLE ID, their homerooms, ESOL level, ESC, 504, and then these are two columns that I added after I downloaded this. So I'm basically already ready for testing. I already know who each of these students are testing with, that's TA, test administrator, and what rooms they're going to be going to. I've already put in the work there, and I've prepared that for all of my students. Okay, I have 75 here. Obviously, some of your lists might go more than that, or whatever the case is. Okay, I want to show you all really quick. I know this is mainly about mail merge, but you know when you get your your file from File Download Manager, it usually doesn't come out sorted by homeroom or even last name, first name. Let's say you get it and for some reason you have it sorted all by last name. Okay, so I'm just going to show you really quick how you might get a spreadsheet. Maybe you get a spreadsheet, which that didn't sort any. That didn't. So let's say maybe you just get the spreadsheet by last name. It's like this, but for the purposes of what you're doing today, you want to have them sorted by homeroom. And when we get to the letter part, I'm going to tell you why that's very important. This is the spreadsheet. You want to have it sorted by, I'm going to sort it by homeroom first, then last name, then first name. That's how I want my Excel spreadsheet to come out. Okay? All right. So my Excel spreadsheet is good to go. I just wanted to show you where I'm going to be pulling the information from for the mail merge letter. So this is saved already on my computer. I'm going to go ahead and close it. I can't recall now if whenever I do mail merge, if I do keep the spreadsheet open in the background, but if you save it, I mean, it's not going to go anywhere. You're not going to come back to this and touch it for anything when you're doing the mail merge. So I'm just going to save it and close it. Okay. Once I close that, I am going to open up the letter that I have prepared. Okay, if everybody can see that here. It's a Word document. It's a letter that I have prepared that I'm going to be handing out to all students who are going to be testing for the PSAT. Okay, so just to walk you through this letter really quick to give you an idea, this letter is going to have, once we do this mail merge, all the individual student information here, who it's going to, student ID, grade level, homeroom, room number where they're going to be testing, and test administrator. So if you notice, that information is blank because that's where I'm going to be grabbing from my Excel spreadsheet and putting all that information here individually without having to type it because that's individual per student. What is the same for all students is when they will be testing, which is going to be Wednesday, October 16th, and what they will be testing on, which is the PSAT. Okay? I always like to include in my letters as well a reminder to students. Okay, you're not going straight to testing. You're going to report to your homeroom for attendance first. I'm going to make the announcement. That's when you're going to report to your testing room. And then I always like to, and I cannot stress this enough, I always like to remind students about test security every chance I get. It's very important if you want your students to take all tests or all assessments in the school seriously, it comes from the higher ups first. Every single test in the school is important and should be tested, should be treated with test security. Okay, so any chance I get, I always remind students about the academic honesty, leaving campus, how they won't be able to return to the test, calculators, that they're only allowed once instructed by the test administrator, and then electronic devices. I even bold that one because it is so important that students remember electronic devices are not allowed on any test, like during any test sessions. So I like to bold that. I also put at the bottom, letting them know what's going to happen to all of their possessions once they are testing. In this particular case, for our school, for the school that I came from when I was a test chair, we always, when students walked into the room with their book bags, we had a designated area of the room where they would put their book bags. So if it was a computer lab with a little hallway, as soon as you walked into the computer lab, we had them line up their book bags there. If you have open space in the middle of the room and computer lab, like computers all around or desks or whatever the case may be, maybe you have them put it there. Whatever the case is, I just give them a heads up. Okay, you're going to walk in with your possessions and they're going to be placed in this particular area. Okay, so these are just reminders I want to set to the students. So now I'm ready to grab from that Excel spreadsheet and prepare all of these letters. Okay, so I always save the mail merge letter that I'm going to use. I always save it as mail merge letter original. So this is always the letter I can come back to and change per test or save it for a different test, whatever. But I always have it saved as my original. So you're going to come up here to mailings. Click mailings. Did I click it? There we go. Click mailings, and then you're going to go ahead and click Start Mail Merge. And click the little down arrow. These are all the different options you have for mail merge. I always usually tend to use it just for letters, but you can even use it for labels if you're sending out a mailer, like if you happen to be somebody on the administration of your school that has to send out letters to all your students, you can do it through here. So we're going to stick to letters. Okay. Now, keep in mind that this mail merge is grabbing from my Excel spreadsheet. My Excel spreadsheet has everybody that I want these letters to be addressed to. So I'm going to go ahead and click Select Recipients. This is going to be who these letters are going to. I already have it saved, so I'm not typing a new list. I am using my existing list. And I always recommend to use an existing list. It's going to save you any kind of headaches. Just already have it ready to go before you get to this point. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my spreadsheet. And I'm going to click Open. Okay. Now, for this particular Excel spreadsheet, I only have one sheet on it. I don't know how familiar all of you are with Excel, but you do have the capability for every document in Excel to create a separate sheet. So let's say from that main master list I had, I create a sheet in that same Excel document for all my ESOL students. I want to keep in mind who my ESOL students are, and do another sheet for my SPED students. Those sheets will show up here as well. But since I know I want these letters to go out to all students, I'm clicking from the master list. Okay? Always make sure that this is clicked as well. First row of data contains column headers. If this is not checked, you will not get the title of each of those columns. For example, we have grade, student ID, things like that. If that's unchecked, when you go to select from those fields, it's going to say column 1, column 2, and I don't know about you, but sometimes we're working on so many things, I don't remember what every column was. So always make sure that that is checked. First row of data contains column headers. Then click OK. Okay. Now, once you click OK, you are ready to start inserting your information. So you are going to click into the first field that you want it to go to. Now, before I start putting this in, remember I told you that that Excel spreadsheet we sorted by homeroom? The reason I did that, I learned the hard way when I first started using this. I did this and however my spreadsheet was sorted, I saved it like that and I was like, okay, good. I think it was sorted like alphabetized, right? So I printed out, oh gosh, it was like 100 letters. I printed out 100 letters and I was like, all right, so I'm going to put it in the mailboxes for the homeroom teachers. And I was like, oh, it's going to be so easy. And I started going through it. And however your Excel spreadsheet is sorted, that is how the documents are going to be prepared. Like the mail merge letters are going to be prepared and printed. So when I was ready to put in the homeroom boxes, I had to go through and start doing the whole little separation thing, doing my little piles of all the different homerooms. It was a mess. So then I learned that however I save my Excel spreadsheet, however I have it sorted, that is how it is going to print and prepare my mail merge letters. So I have sorted it by homeroom because I know when I print out all of these letters, I just want to go through and say, okay, this homeroom is here. Next sort this homeroom and have it ready to go, and it takes me less than 5 minutes. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to start filling in all this information here. So for homeroom, I'm going to click Insert Merge Field, and I'm going to choose HR. That is what I had that column title. Come down to 2. I always like to alphabetize my things through last name. That's how I do it. So, sorry about that. Okay. So I always like to alphabetize anything that I'm handing out to students or anything like that by last name. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. Insert merge fields. I'm going to do last name. Now, right after last name, I'm going to go ahead and put comma, space. Why? Because I want the names to appear just like that for every single document. So whatever that you are putting into this letter that does not fall within those double brackets is going to come out on every single letter. Okay, so last name, comma, space, and I'm going to go ahead and put the first name. And you know what? I also want to include the middle initial. So again, space, and I'm going to click here for MI, that's middle initial. Okay, next thing is going to be student ID. I'm going to click the field where I want that information to come out, insert merge field, student ID. Okay, click in grade, insert merge field, grade. Now I'm going to click down here into these boxes. What room number are each of these students going to test in? Insert merge field. I have it saved under room. And who are they going to be testing with? Insert merge field. Click over here. Insert merge field. TA. Okay. So that's it. It's only one document. I put that information. You know, I think we're good to go. Let's go ahead and check it out. So if you want to just make sure that this looks how you want it to look when you go to print it, you can click preview results right here. You click preview results. That is what your letters are going to look like once the information is grabbed from the Excel spreadsheet and put in here. Okay, all right, so Pamela Beasley is good. What about the next one? Is this doing it how I'd like it? You're going to click this little arrow for next record. Okay, Andrew Bernard, we're looking good. Chandler Bing, everything's good. Okay, I think we're good. I think we're good here. So you're going to get a second opportunity to make sure that this is good. So let's unclick preview results or keep it clicked, whatever you want. We'll keep it clicked. Right over here, finish and merge. Now, I always have this fear that everything I put my work into, if I don't save it, I'm going to lose it and I'm going to have to do it again. That's just, you know, how I am. So when I click finish and merge, I get the option to print documents. Sure, I'm going to go ahead and print it. You know, I'm good to print. I think I want to save it first. So I'm going to go ahead and click edit individual documents. And I want all the records to be merged. I want every single student on that Excel spreadsheet to be merged into this letter. So I'm going to click all, and I'm going to click OK. Now I have to share this one with you because it pulls up. When you do that, it's going to show up as a separate document. You see up here, letters 1. Okay, so it's going to show up as a separate document. When you start, right, it says page 1 of 2. Don't think that it didn't work. Page 1 of 2. You start going down, page 2, page 3. So it just goes loading, continues going, continues. And so everything is loaded. I have 75 students that I prepared this for. So it'll keep adding to it as you're ready to go. So you would save it in your computer, like on your desktop or whatever file that you want. Okay, I always recommend, even though you print these out and you're handing them out to the students, is that you always save these letters with the student information. Why? Because we know what happens when students are expected to keep a paper for their past. Some students are great about it and some students lose it the minute they leave the school building. So let's say I know Monica Geller is testing and she comes to me 2 days before testing and she says that she lost her testing letter. She doesn't know where she's supposed to go, who she's supposed to test with, anything like that. I can pull up this document of letters and whatever I save it under, and you could click Control F and you can search all the documents. So I'm going to search by her name, but if you know she has her student ID, you can search that, you know, whatever, just to save some time. But we're just going to go ahead and look up Monica. And there's Monica's letter. So Monica's letter happens to be, let me close this, page 5. So I'm just going to go ahead and click that individual letter for Monica. Okay. Are there any questions about the letters, how to do the letters for mail merge? No? Okay, good. All right. So let me go ahead and do a new share with you. So now that's for letters. That's when you want to give out one sheet of paper to every individual student. You don't want to do any cutting, anything like that. Let's say you have a lot of students and you don't want to print out an individual sheet for each student. You just want to do passes for your kids. I'm going to show you that document and the difference with putting the information from your Excel spreadsheet into that document. Okay, so here are the passes. Everybody sees that? Passes? Okay, awesome. All right, so these passes, there's actually 3 passes per sheet. Okay, I'm going to print out 3 per sheet. You could do 3, 2, 4, however you want to do it. But the difference here than with the letter of the mail merge is that each of these passes is supposed to have individual student information. So I'm going to show you the very important thing that you want to use to, that you have to use to make sure that the individual names come out here and it doesn't just repeat. Okay? So same thing we're going to be doing here. We know we want to use mail merge for these passes. So again, we're going to click on mailings. Start mail merge. Now you can click letters. I think I've done it also with normal Word document because this isn't really a letter. So you can click normal Word document. That's not an issue. Okay. So for this first pass, now select recipients. Remember, we want to grab from that Excel spreadsheet. And even if let's say you did the letters and you're going to do the passes now. Yes, you have to still select from that spreadsheet because each of these documents are talking to Excel individually. Not talking, but grabbing from Excel individually. So you do have to do this again. Okay, I'm grabbing my spreadsheet. Getting this one, first row of data contains column headers. Yes. Okay. All right, now we're ready to start putting the information in. All right, my first pass here. I'm going to keep these simple. I'm just going to do last name, comma, space, because that I can't not do. I have to do comma, space. Last name, comma, space, first name, grade. Now, as I'm adding this, you see how the box is growing and you assume that maybe the formatting is going to get messed up. Do not be afraid of that. It'll fix itself once the information's there. Student ID, homeroom. Okay. Everybody's going to be taking the PSAT. Everybody's doing it at 9 a.m. Okay. Room number. Where are you going? Okay. All right, so that first pass is done. Now I'm going to move on to my second and third pass. When you do that, what you want this document to communicate with Excel is that it is going to be grabbing from the next row in Excel. Because if you just do last name, first name, the same thing like you did on the first pass here, it's going to grab the same information from that same row. So you want this document to communicate with Excel, hey, grab from the next row. I want the next student. So in order to do that, you're going to click and you're going to come up here to rules. When you click the down arrow, you're going to select next record. Okay. Don't put a space or anything after next record because remember, whatever you're putting after the brackets, it's what's going to appear in the passes. You don't want a space because that's going to throw off your alignment here. So right after next record, now you want it to be last name, comma, space, first name. You are not going to have to put next record for grade because when you tell this next record, it is going to the next row. So it is going to grab the next row of the last name, first name, grade, student ID, homeroom, and the room number. Then for the next pass after this, we'll do next record again because now we want it to keep moving down and get that entire row. Okay, so grade, student ID. Again, don't let this drive you crazy. It's going to fix itself, I promise. Enter. Get to the homeroom. PSAT, 9 a.m. All right, where are you guys going? room number. Okay, last pass, same thing. First thing we're going to do, we're going to go to rules, click next record, no space, last name, comma, space, first name, grade, student ID, homeroom, PSAT, 9 a.m. Where are you guys going for room number? All right, so now we're ready to see, oh, did this work? Are we good to go? We're going to preview results. Now keep in mind, preview results sometimes might show the data, and we'll see if it happens this time. I know it happened in my last training. A little weird, but when you finish and merge, everything goes in the exact order. Okay, so preview results. Just want to make sure it worked out. Okay, Pamela Beasley. Oh, look, it didn't fix here. So no worries. I'm going to fix that one because I cannot have that like that. Let's see why it did that. I think we did an extra. There we go. Should be fine now. Yep. Looks good. Okay. Come to the next one. You see how it repeats Andrew Bernard at the top, but you see that Chandler Bing is new, Monica Geller, all of that is new. Okay, so when you go to the finish and merge, it'll fix it. All right, so I know my passes are good. You know what? I'm ready to print them. I'm ready to go. Let's unclick preview results. Let's go to finish and merge. Remember, edit individual documents. This is just a personal preference. I like to do this so that I can save my passes before I print them. So I'm going to click edit individual documents, merge all my records. Okay. That is going to open up in a separate document. Let me share that one with you. Okay. All right. So this is my passes. You see we have Pamela Beasley, Andrew Bernard, Philip Collins, Monica Geller, Ross Geller, Jim Halper, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you can go ahead and print these out, save them on your desktop or your file folder, wherever you want to do it. And the same thing with searching here. Now you're going to get Stanley Hudson right before testing, lost his pass, doesn't know where he has to go. You'll just click Control F and you can search Stanley. There he is. You could print out that sheet and just cut out his pass and he's good to go. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
So let's say that you wanted to do this not for just one test like the PSAT, but you were doing maybe makeup testing for like EOC, the ELA, and then you also had stack times like morning and afternoon. So if you added in a column that said test, and then you added in a column for time, could you also do a mail merge for a test and a time and then create tickets that way as well?
Yes, yes, you can definitely do that. So however many columns you have in Excel, you can grab from all of them. You saw on my Excel spreadsheet, I also had the ESO level and the exceptionality code. Let's say this was going to a teacher, letting them know that we were going to have a conference. Like I was doing conferences with all the teachers, and I wanted to give them all the student information at that time. I can grab that from my Excel spreadsheet and put it into the letter and let them know, hey, we're going to meet with Pamela Beasley's parents. She's ESO level 5, you know, and she has exceptionality K, or whatever the case is. So what you would do is on your letter, let me go back to the letter that you have, your mail merge letter. Okay, so here I have this information here, the date, and I have the test already put in there before I put any information for the students, right? But you can leave that blank and you can go ahead and grab it from your Excel spreadsheet. The only thing you have to make sure is that those fields in the Excel spreadsheet are filled out.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Are there any questions about the letters or the passes?
I have one question, and I'm sorry if it's a stupid one. I'm
No.
very new to all of this, so okay. So I'm not 100% familiar with File Download Manager. I've used it before, but like usually sitting next to my AP or something. So the test administrator, that we can't get from File Download Manager. You would have to type that in on your own, correct?
Yeah, yes. So that would be something that when you're ready for testing, that you've already gotten all the information for the students. You have all your, let's say, third graders, and you want to start preparing them for testing. After you've downloaded that from File Download, all the pertinent student information, now you sit down and you say, okay, I want these students to test with Mrs. Smith. So you could just type it in the first cell and drag it down and know that those students are testing with Miss Smith, and the same thing with the room assignment.
Okay.
Remember with Excel, just a little trick with Excel, it's always better for the numbers to write the first two cells. Like for example, if it's room 101, do 101, and then the second cell 101, and grab those two and drag it down. Why? Because if you do 101 and just drag it down, it does it chronologically. So it'll go from 101 to like 175, depending on how many times you pulled it down. Or you can just do copy and paste.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Are there any other questions?